The negotiation hall on Station Kepler 7 had seen many tense meetings, but none quite like this. Warlord Zethrak's crimson carapace gleamed under the artificial lights as he shifted his massive bulk in the reinforced chair. His 10 Gorvani guards stood at attention behind him, each one a towering mass of chitinous armor and predatory instinct. Their razor-sharp mandibles clicked rhythmically, a sound that had struck terror into countless species across 3 star systems. Across the polished titanium table sat Ambassador Sarah Chen, looking impossibly small in comparison. At barely 5.5 feet tall, with graying hair pulled back in a simple bun, she appeared more like someone's grandmother than humanity's chief diplomat. The contrast was almost comical, if one ignored the fact that this meeting would determine whether the Outer Rim colonies lived or died. "Your terms are generous," Zethrak rumbled, his translator rendering his guttural language into crisp, standard. "But I find myself curious about something, little mammal." Sarah's fingers remained clasped calmly on the table. "Oh? Your government sends only you, one fragile human, alone, to negotiate with the terror of 3 systems." His compound eyes glittered with predatory amusement. "Do they value your colony so little?" The Gorvani guards shifted slightly, their exoskeletons creaking like old leather. Each one stood over 8 feet tall, bred for warfare, their natural weapons capable of shearing through battle armor. They had never known defeat in personal combat. "Perhaps," Sarah said mildly, "they simply send who they need to send." Zethrak's mandibles spread in what passed for a smile among his species. "Indeed. Well then, Ambassador Chen, let me make my position clear. These terms you offer, mineral rights, trade agreements, territorial concessions, they are insulting. I am the scourge of Vega Prime. I am the death of worlds. I do not negotiate with prey." "I see." Sarah reached slowly into her briefcase, causing several guards to tense. She withdrew a simple data pad. "Then perhaps we should discuss what happened at Proxima Station." The temperature in the room seemed to drop 10 degrees. Zethrak's easy confidence flickered for just a moment, so briefly that another species might have missed it. But humans had evolved to read micro-expressions, to catch the subtle tells that meant the difference between friend and predator. "Ancient history," the warlord growled. "3 months ago," Sarah continued conversationally, "your fleet attacked Proxima Station, 40,000 civilians. The station's defenses were minimal, a few automated turrets, some patrol craft. It should have been a massacre." "It was a massacre," Zethrak said, but his voice had lost some of its thunder. "Yes, it was." Sarah's voice remained steady, but something had changed in her eyes, a coldness that seemed at odds with her grandmotherly appearance. "Except the massacre wasn't quite what you expected, was it?" She tapped her data pad, and a holographic display materialized above the table. It showed the twisted wreckage of what had once been a massive dreadnought. "The ESV Defiance," Sarah said quietly. "Captain Marcus Webb commanding. Population 847 souls. They were on a routine supply run when they detected your attack on the station." Zethrak's guards were very still now. Even their ritual clicking had ceased. "One ship," Sarah continued, "against your entire fleet. The logical thing, the sane thing, would have been to retreat. Report back to Fleet Command, call for reinforcements." She looked up at Zethrak and her smile was winter itself. "But humans aren't always logical, Warlord." The hologram shifted, showing tactical displays from the battle. A single human vessel, small and outgunned, diving straight into the heart of a Gorvani battle fleet. Captain Webb sent one message back to High Command. 4 words. "Tell them we tried." Then he ordered, "Ramming speed." The display showed the Defiance's final moments, its fusion core overloading as it plowed through Zethrak's flagship, taking 2 escort cruisers with it in a ball of stellar fire. "But that's not the interesting part," Sarah said. "The interesting part is what happened next." New images flickered to life. Escape pods jettisoning from the dying human ship. Gorvani vessels moving in to finish off the survivors. Your crews reported that the human survivors were malfunctioning, Sarah noted. They kept fighting, even after their ship was gone, even after their weapons were destroyed. Some of them jury-rigged explosive charges from emergency equipment. Others turned their escape pods into guided missiles. She leaned forward slightly. Tell me, Warlord, how many ships did you lose to malfunctioning humans that day? Zethrak's silence stretched like a taut cable. 17, Sarah answered. For him, 17 ships lost to the crew of one human vessel that should have been dead 10 minutes into the fight. And do you know what the real tragedy is? She stood up slowly, and somehow her small frame seemed to fill the room. The real tragedy is that Captain Webb and his crew were the reasonable ones. They were scientists, engineers, cargo haulers. None of them had seen real combat before that day. Her smile was sharp enough to cut diamond. They weren't even military. The Gorvani guards had begun to back away from the table, their predatory instincts finally recognizing a greater predator, but Sarah wasn't done. So here's what's going to happen, Zethrak. You're going to accept these terms, all of them. You're going to withdraw from human space, and you're going to tell your fellow warlords exactly why. She picked up her briefcase, with casual precision. Because if you don't, the next human ship you meet might not be crewed by reasonable people. She walked toward the door, pausing only when Zethrak called after her. Wait, that's it? No threats? No show of force? Sarah turned back, and for the first time her expression softened into something almost pitying. Oh, my dear Warlord. This was the show of force. As the door sealed behind her, 10 Gorvani guards, each one a living weapon, each one bred for conquest, stood in perfect silence. They had just been reminded of a fundamental truth about humans that the rest of the galaxy was still learning. Sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one that doesn't look dangerous at all. The treaties, were signed within the hour.